Worse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little.
Hey everyone, Kirk here, and welcome back to the Geek Effect. In today's video, I'm back again with another action figure review, and this is one that I'm really excited about because it's for a movie that I enjoyed in 2021 and even going into 2022, and will probably always enjoy it because that movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. If you guys have not seen the movie, I highly recommend checking it out because it's probably one of the best MCU and Marvel and even Spider-Man films that we've gotten over the years, and I could not be more happy that a movie like that exists. Now, this is actually the Doctor Strange figure for the film, so it's going to be an updated head sculpt, updated design of an outfit, and it even has some pretty cool accessories, as you can see from looking at the packaging. Now, fun fact is that this is actually my first Doctor Strange figure in a while, because many years ago, I used to have a 2-pack, which was actually 3 3/4 figures of Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, and it came with a Defenders comic. I used to own this, and it was a pretty cool pack. I do remember having a lot of fun with it. It's good to have, another Doctor Strange in my collection after all those years, and a pretty good looking one at that. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the packaging. So recently on the channel, I've been reviewing a lot of the retro card Spider-Man figures, which has been a lot of fun, but we're back to that standard Legend Series packaging that we've been seeing over the past few years, and this has, of course, the Legend Series logo at the top with the Build-A-Figure information in the corner, this one being for Marvel's Armadillo. You also have the Spider logo at the top, which is based on the, Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man style Spider logo, and it has that in red. Looks very nice with the black, so that is a nice touch. You also have the display window area, which features the figure, then the logo for the movie Marvel Studios Spider-Man No Way Home, and then you also have the Doctor Strange name at the bottom in front of the red little strip on the front of the box, along with the Hasbro logo in the corner. Flipping the box over to the side, you will get some artwork of Dr. Stephen Strange himself, Benedict Cumberbatch looking as mystical as ever, and then you also have the Spider-Man face logo or icon at the bottom of that artwork with some, gold trimming and everything all around there to kind of match that integrated suit that we see in the film. Looks very nice. When you flip it around to the back, you do get some information. Marvel Legends series, Doctor Strange, possessing vast magical knowledge and skills to call upon, Earth's master of the mystic arts steps onto the battlefield. Then you have some more artwork of Doctor Strange where he has the, hand pose that he has going. He has his sling ring on, Eye of Agamotto right there, and you do see the outfit that he's wearing in the film, which is the figure that we're getting here in this box. Moving on down, you do get to see some information about the Build-A-Figure way for Marvel's Armadillo, which just states which figures come with which parts. So you get the Spider-Man integrated suit, you get the black and gold suit, you get Doctor Strange, of course, which we're reviewing right now, and we also get J. Jonah Jameson, along with 3 other figures. We get Miles Morales from the Miles Morales PS4 game, we get Moreland, and then we also get Marvel Streak. There's a whole bunch of figures in this wave, which is actually very nice. So a wide variety, 4 from the movie, and then 3 extra characters, which is rather lovely. The bottom of the box just features that, regular spiel that we get about, warnings and attention and all that stuff, but no one cares about that. Let's go ahead and get the box open and get a closer look at this guy. So here we have Doctor Strange out of the box, and this guy looks fantastic in my opinion. I really love how the overall figure looks, and I think that it matches the look from No Way Home very well, like if you were to compare it side by side. Now, when it comes to the head sculpt, that is one of my favorite aspects of this figure, because just looking at it, when I was looking at it even in the packaging and once I took it out, I think this guy has some of the best, sculpt work and everything when it comes to the likeness of Benedict Cumberbatch. Like if you were to compare this to the one from the first Doctor Strange movie, this is way better in comparison to that one. And the last time I felt this way when it came to, an accurate head sculpt and everything like that about a figure, especially one from the MCU, that was when I was reviewing the Shang-Chi figures for Shang-Chi and Wenwu, and those matched the real-life actors very well in my opinion, and this one does an even better job when it comes to matching the likeness of Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, in order for us to actually get a better look at everything that this figure has to offer, let's go ahead and get in closer. Getting a closer look at Doctor Strange, we can see all the details that are here with this figure, and I really love how it looks. Like I said earlier, it matches the look of Benedict Cumberbatch very well, especially with the head sculpt. This is going to definitely be my favorite part of this figure. I love all the details like the wrinkles in the forehead, how the cheek has a very defined look to it with the cheekbone sticking out, the jaw having a very slim look to it that matches how Benedict Cumberbatch looks in real life. It just looks very accurate, and the hair and everything turned out well too. You can see the white area of the hair that's there, same thing on the left side. That looks nice, and you can see all the waves and how the hair also kind of parts at the top. That looks well, and you even have the hair that hangs over the forehead. As for the goatee, that does look all right, but I did notice some slight weirdness to the goatee look because this part is slightly wider than the other end, and I don't know if that's just because, you know, Doctor Strange had an issue with the goatee kit that he has in No Way Home, or maybe this is actually not Doctor Strange. This is actually Mephisto, and he's been here all along, and we just, you know, we're wrong. He was not in WandaVision. He was actually in Spider-Man No Way Home, confirmed. All jokes aside, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really take away from the overall look of the head sculpt because, like I said, nonetheless, it does look fantastic in my opinion, and that's just a minor flaw I did notice. When you move down towards the torso area, you can see all the other sculpting like the folds and gathering of the garment because of the belt, so that looks nice. You also have some wrinkle in the sleeves with the bicep area, the forearm area, and you even have that color change with the slightly lighter blue and then the brown for those bandages that you see on his forearm. Same thing on this arm as well. That looks great. You can also see the sculpting of the hands that come on this figure, and those look fantastic too. It has that very magical or mystical sort of pose like he's about to cast a spell or something like that. So I do love how that looks. And when you take off the cloak of levitation, you can also see the rest of the torso area. In the back area, that has a bit of a pattern going on there, and that looks nice. There is going to be a peg hole, and that's just because the cloak of levitation does have a peg there to place it inside that peg hole and just make sure that it stays on the figure and doesn't go falling off or anything like that. So I do like that that's there. Looking at the belt, you can see some more details like the pattern of it, and then they also made sure to include the sling ring there, so Doctor Strange can go ahead and open up some portals to the multiverse or, you know, other dimensions, mirror dimension, that sort of stuff. I do love that that's there, and it has this nice dark gold paint look to it, so that is nice as well. Looking at the other end of that, you will see the buckles in a silver color. I love how that looks, and then you also have the same thing at the back. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be silver, but if that is, I kind of wonder why they chose not to make that silver. It's not a big deal, but I mean, when you see silver right here, you would kind of expect them to want to do the same thing for the backside of the belt. When you move down towards the end of the robe or garment that he's wearing, you will see a bunch of flaps here, and I love that these are here because it will allow you to have some better room for the legs and stuff to move, which we'll get into the articulation and everything later. But I do love that that's there. It has some lines and everything to add some texture to it, and same thing in the front area, that is also there, but this is a bit stiffer in comparison to the flaps that are in the back. You also have some wrinkle details on the legs and straps and everything on the boots. Those look great, and that's pretty much it for the overall figure. One more thing I will point out that's actually on the figure at the moment is the Eye of Agamotto. I love how that looks, and I think that it looks fantastic. Like I said, the sculpting of that looks great. The paint job with the gold and everything looks great as well, and it looks very intricate with the paints and sculpting and everything like that. You can also just put that right back on the figure, and I do love that it is detachable versus it being sculpted onto the body because it just kind of makes an additional accessory for the figure, as well as you can kind of have him hold it in his hand or something like that if you wanted to. So, you know, it works. I do love that they chose to make it detachable rather than sculpted on. In regards to the cloak of levitation setting Doctor Strange to the side, I do love how the cloak turned out as well. It has a pattern on the underside of it, and you also have the pattern on the outside of it as well. And then you also have those like gold things right there. I don't know what to call them, but I don't know if they're like pins or whatever to call them, but those are there. They're there for the figure. And if you want to attach the cloak of levitation back onto the figure, you just stick the peg back into the peg hole. It's a bit weird to kind of work around because you kind of have to look under it as you're doing it. But once you get it on there, you just push it in as far as possible, and then you just kind of adjust the figure to the way that you need it. It kind of looks weird at times, so like the cape is kind of hovering up a bit, but once you kind of like get it formed and everything like that, like if you were to add some heat, you could potentially just work it and make it a bit better because the plastic is a bit stiff, but it works in the end. And then you just kind of make sure that the Eye of Agamotto is laying down rather than kind of like all over the place, but rather good figure. Moving on over to the accessories, you get a little something to work with to add some variety to your Doctor Strange figure, and for starters, you do get an extra set of hands. This is something that I think it's safe to say we're kind of used to when it comes to Legends figures. Like, there's always an extra set of hands these days, and this one does come with its fair share of that. So they have a different sort of pose in comparison to the ones that already come on the figure, which those are more open. These are more closed, so you have the three fingers on the side. They're kind of inward, touching the palm, and then the thumb and the pointer on both of these hands are starting to touch one another. This one is slightly more gapped in comparison to this one, but again, just adds a bit more to that variety. And as always, you can swap these out with the arms on the Doctor Strange figure. So if you want to add one of these and then keep one of the open hands on that, you can do that. Or if you want to, put both of these on and just have them both there and not use the other hands, you can do that as well. Moving on over to the next set of accessories, we actually have another pair of hands with this figure. And, everybody's getting hands. You get a hand. You get a hand. It's just hands all around. And these are actually cool, though. I will say that. And that's because they have spell effects. And these are pretty cool. Last time I remember seeing something like this was for the Doctor Strange figure for the first Doctor Strange movie, actually. And that's the last time I kind of remember seeing something like this. Now, the one thing I will say about these, as cool as they do have some nice texturization. The hands on these are attached to the spell effects, and I think, this is just an idea, if Hasbro and the Legends team were able to find a way to make it where the fingers could fit into like portholes that are made to match up with how spread apart the fingers are, and they could slide into the thing. It might be a bit loose. They may have to make it slightly thicker or something. I don't know what they would have to do, but that would just make it even better, because then you could detach the spell effects and then have another separate hand to go with the figure for Doctor Strange. Like, that's just a concept that I think could possibly work later down the line. Like, I think that would be a very fun concept to test out and see how well people receive it and everything like that. But nonetheless, these are cool parts, and as always, you can put both of them on the figure, or you can swap them out with the other hands that you get as additional hands, or the ones that are already on the character. And as I mentioned earlier, this figure is actually a part of a Build-A-Figure wave. So it's for Marvel's Armadillo, and with this figure, you get the head sculpt for Marvel's Armadillo. And this looks pretty nice. It's nothing much I can really say about it because it's just the head, but it's got a lot of detail. You can see the angry expression on him. The teeth detailing looks nice. All that sculpt work there. Even with the scales and everything for his, shell, like the armadillo type pattern and texture and everything like that looks pretty nice. I love how that looks. Now, I don't know if I will complete this figure, but I do think that it's a nice looking head sculpt. That's, as much as I can really say about it. For the articulation, you do get your standard sort of movement going on here. So you have some articulation in the head. The head can tilt back as far as that. You can also tilt it inward, move it to the left, move it to the right, and rotate 360 degrees. Instead of it being on a hinge, though, it's on one of those seamless joints that we've been seeing, and those do look nice for this figure. Like, I don't see Doctor Strange really needing the hinge because, this is a decent amount of movement for him. I don't see him being, that needing of a hinge joint to move it back even further. I think that this creates that seamless look, and it makes it look, like a very clean looking figure, in my opinion. As for the arm joints and everything like that, you do get the standard range of motion all the way up here. Same thing with this arm, but you kind of have to, be careful because the cloak of levitation, as you guys can see right now, does lift up. And so, although it does levitate, it still looks like it's kind of just like weird how it's on the figure. So you don't want to raise it up too much, unfortunately. So that will kind of limit you if you care about that sort of thing. Now, if you were to take off the cloak of levitation, then it would be much easier to give him some more range of motion and everything like that. You do get some rotation in the bicep on both of the arms, and you also get that elbow bend in there because of the joints in there, and those look nice. And then also some swivel in the wrist, and you can angle the wrist down and also angle it backwards. Same with the other arm, and there's some swivel right there as well. When it comes to the mid-torso joint, there's some rotation there, and it does allow you to rotate it 360 degrees, of course, and you can angle it in just a bit, but it's not too much tilting going on there. But you can angle it back, though, and give him a bit of tilt there. Same thing to the left and same thing to the right, but it does tend to look weird at times, so he's not really going to be doing that too much. As for the joints on the legs, you do get, like I said, some more range of motion because of the flaps at the back, and so you can angle those in as far as that. And so I'm glad that that's the case for this figure. Same thing with the other leg. You can also rotate the thigh joint right there, and then they also made sure to add some rotation in the boot joint, so I do love that that's there as well, and also some swivel in the ankles. So overall, I really love how this Legends figure turned out, and I think that Hasbro and the Marvel Legends team did a fantastic job with it. They put a lot of detail into it, especially with the head sculpt. Like, I can't get over how good that head sculpt looks and how accurate it looks to Benedict Cumberbatch. So that's definitely a plus in my book when it comes to this figure. When it comes to the articulation, like I said, it does have movement where it's needed, and you know, it works, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to do any crazy sort of poses. So you're either going to have this figure standing up or on a flight stand to have him in a levitating sort of pose, you know, knee bent in, toe pointing down, and you could do that, and it'll look nice if you have him on a flight stand. Or if you want to have, you know, his legs kind of spread apart at a decent angle, you could do that and move the arms and stuff around to have him casting spells in different positions. Like, that's about it for this guy. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't really go in expecting that with this figure because he has a whole cloak of levitation and, you know, the garment and everything that's going to obstruct. And when you see him in the movies, he's either standing up or, you know, in a meditating pose or levitating. So, I mean, that's about what you're going to get for this Legends figure. I hope you all enjoyed this review. Be sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. We have been, you know, growing here on the Geek Effect lately, and it's been fantastic. Like, I've been seeing a lot of people subscribing and commenting in the comment section, and I've been appreciating a lot of it, even over on Instagram. So thanks to all of you for your support, and I will catch you all later with another action figure review. Peace out.